Besides being two of the greatest Brazilian footballers of all time, Romário and Pelé are powerful men who earned a lot of money throughout their careers. But have you ever wondered which of them had the most luxurious life? In this video, you'll see a heated battle between Romário and Pelé. So let's fight! Boats! The two stars have always enjoyed life on the high seas, but which one had the most impressive boat? Back when Pelé was the biggest soccer star on the soccer fields, he decided to buy a speedboat and named it Kelly Cristina after his first daughter. The boat is a romario 22 model, one of the most famous boats manufactured at the time, almost 10 meters long, and able to carry up to 4 people. And although the boat was already very outdated, at the time it must have been worth a lot of money. Romário, for his part, had a beautiful speedboat. The player's boat was the Azimuth Atlantis 50, a sophisticated 16-meter-long speedboat with a super modern design. This little toy should provide a lot of fun for the player, as everyone knows Romário is a guy who loves to enjoy life. The interior of the boat can offer a lot of comfort to everyone on board and can hold up to 7 people. The outside is luxurious, with a beautiful gourmet area and plenty of space for sunbathing. And to have such a treat at your disposal, you need to invest quite a bit of money. To give you an idea of the price, this used model speedboat can be found for around $300,000. And for having a more luxurious boat, Romário wins this round. Point for him. Most expensive property. The two football legends never skimped on good places to live, but who had the more luxurious property? Pelé, for example, lived in Brazil, in a mansion in Jardim Acapulco, in Sao Paulo, a luxury condominium where Neymar Jr. also owns a house. The former player has already shown a little of his property during some interviews. The living room, for example, is a very large room, with a light color palette, decorated with several works of art on the walls, and even has a pool table in the corner. But what is impressive is the outside area, a huge space that has a large swimming pool surrounded by green areas. And of course, there is a soccer field for when the former player wants to play soccer with his friends and family. And although it has never been disclosed what the mansion is really worth, to get an idea, the real estate prices in this luxurious condominium cost an average of $4 million. Romário doesn't fall behind in this competition. Until 2009, for example, he owned a spectacular flat in the Barra da Tijuca neighborhood in Rio de Janeiro, one of the city's noblest areas. It's nothing less than a penthouse in the Golden Green condominium, a high-end building capable of offering every refinement imaginable. The player's former residence was very large, with almost 8,600 square feet of free space. According to press reports, the player unfortunately had to auction off his property due to legal problems, and it was sold for more than $1.6 million. A few years later, the same penthouse that belonged to the player was found on estate agents' websites at a much higher price. To give you an idea, the incredible property that belonged to the former striker was advertised in 2011 for $5 million, meaning that, converted to today's values, after a decade, if this property still belonged to Romário, it would be worth more than $10 million. Considering the current value of Romário's old property, points to him. Exaggerated luxuries. Both players had enough money to buy anything they wanted, but which one had the habit of spending more? Romário, for example, has always enjoyed traveling in beautiful aircraft, a luxury that must cost tens of thousands of dollars. Pelé, on the other hand, has been seen wearing beautiful watches, such as $30,000 stainless steel Rolex Datejust, $70,000 Rolex Date Yellow Gold. Pelé has also been an ambassador for Hublot, one of Switzerland's largest luxury watch manufacturers, and has been seen with beautiful jewelry from the brand, such as $6,000 Hublot Big Bang UEFA, $15,000 Hublot UEFA Champions League, $20,000 Hublot Big Bang Unico FIFA. When it came to traveling to different places in the world, Pelé always used private jets. One of the aircraft used by the player is the Bombardier Global 6000, one of the largest and most modern jets in the world, with autonomy for almost 7,000 miles. With almost 100 feet long, this large aircraft can offer all the luxury you can imagine. Its interior can carry up to 18 passengers in great comfort. And according to ATM Jet, the the company responsible for taking care of Pelé's chartered aircraft. Depending on the destination chosen, a trip can cost around 75,000 euros. As Pelé's spending spree was more exaggerated, he wins this round. Point for the king. Cars. Both Brazilians like to drive beautiful cars on a daily basis, but who owned the most expensive cars? Starting with the king of soccer. Pelé's first vehicle was a Volkswagen Beetle, a vehicle that was very successful at the time, and that today, depending on its condition, can reach more than $15,000. Another of Pelé's vehicles was his Aero Willis 2600, the first to receive this vehicle as a gift for one of his victories. This vehicle, which at the time of its launch was considered a luxury, today can be found costing around $20,000. Pelé also once won a 1969 Mercedes-Benz 250 as a gift for his 1,000th goal. Today this vehicle is considered a kind of collectible and can be found today for over $25,000. Some years later he won a Mercedes 280S, another car that was very refined and imposing for the time. The vehicle is equipped with a 6-cylinder engine capable of producing a maximum power of 156 horsepower and reaching a top speed of 125 miles per hour. And it is no wonder that today, depending on the state of repair, the vehicle can cost upwards of $30,000. The soccer star has also been seen using a car that appeared to be a Mercedes 450 SL convertible, another collectible that can cost upwards of $40,000. Romário, on the other hand, had a Jeep Hummer H2, a huge vehicle that is not often seen in Brazil, in which he seemed to like so much that he has already owned another of the same model in a different color. And to own this huge car, you have to pay around $25,000. Taking the price up a notch, he has been seen getting out of a Porsche Macan Turbo, a beautiful SUV from Porsche that the latest models can go up to over $60,000. He has also auctioned off an Audi RS5 Avant, a super-fast luxury sedan, which at the time of its launch was considered one of the fastest in its class. Its price is currently around $60,000. Some sources also speculate that he once owned a BMW X5, a robust car with a modern and imposing design. No wonder a 0-kilometer vehicle costs more than $70,000. When it comes to Ferrari, everyone knows that the Brazilian is passionate. For example, he once owned a 360 Medina F1, a Ferrari that stopped being made in 2004 but can still be found for around $80,000. He is also rumored to have owned a Porsche Carrera, a small sports car equipped with a very powerful engine, ideal for those who like speed. Depending on the model, such a little toy can cost upwards of $115,000. And the most luxurious Ferrari he has ever owned is the F430, a supercar that is the dream of any car enthusiast. The vehicle is capable of accelerating from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 4 seconds, reaching a top speed of 195 miles per hour. And although it hasn't been manufactured since 2009, its price is still very high, at around $130,000. According to the Extra website, the most expensive car Romário ever owned was a Lamborghini Murcielago, an incredible car capable of reaching unbelievable speeds. Equipped with a V12 engine, this machine can accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 3.4 seconds and can reach a top speed of 215 miles per hour. And perhaps that's why it can cost up to $450,000. And for having the most valuable garage, Romário wins this round. Point for him. Other properties. Both athletes have lived in many places over the years, but who has owned the most valuable property? Senator Romário currently lives in a beautiful mansion in the Barra da Tijuca neighborhood in Rio de Janeiro. The player's property is located in the luxurious condominium called Núcleo das Mansões, which from its name alone you can imagine how sophisticated the place is. The player's house became very famous in 2018 when a controversy arose claiming that part of the plot had been built on public land. It is known that the property sits on a 17,000 square foot plot and has a beautiful swimming pool for when the player wants to cool off on sunny days, and of course, it couldn't fail to have a huge football pitch for the Brazilian to play on with his friends. As has been reported in the press, before Romário lived in this mansion, it belonged to former player Edmundo and was sold for a millionaire sum, being valued at almost $1.4 million. Not bad at all. Pelé, for his part, also owned beautiful real estate. In 1979, for example, Pelé bought a mansion situated on a 1-acre plot in the Hamptons in New York, one of the most luxurious and noble locations in the city, where several other celebrities also own homes, such as Beyoncé, Robert Downey Jr., among many others. The house, which faces the lake, has a beautiful brown facade with many windows, ideal to be able to enjoy the beautiful view of the coastline. When we enter the living room, we can see that the place is very spacious, with a kitchen integrated into the living room, besides having a double-height ceiling, which brings a greater feeling of amplitude to the environment. In all, the interior of the property has about 3,400 square feet, with 6 bedrooms, which have balconies that provide an excellent view and bring great natural light. And like every summer house, it could not fail to have an outdoor leisure area with a pool to cool off on the sunniest days. It is known that Pelé acquired the property in 1979 while he was playing for the New York Cosmos, paying about $156,000, equivalent to $600,000 nowadays. In 2018, he even sold it at a good profit for $2.85 million. Considering the value of the properties, Pelé wins this round. Point for him. Net worth. There's no doubt that both players made a lot of money during their careers. But which one had the biggest net worth? Starting with Romario. Despite being considered by many to be one of the best footballers of all time, and having been the highest paid player in the world at the height of his career, Romario doesn't seem to have managed his wealth very well and currently doesn't have as much as he should have. As time went by, Romario's income only diminished to the point where he became interested in entering the world of politics to receive a low salary compared to what he received as a footballer. Soon after he retired from the pitch, for example, he had a brief stint as coach of Vasco da Gama, and although I don't know exactly what his salary was in this role, based on the incomes of other coaches of big Brazilian teams, he must have been paid around 40,000 reais a month. A gigantic salary compared to what he currently receives as a senator of the Republic in Brazil, which is $6,700. But with so many benefits that a politician enjoys, there's no doubt that he leads a very comfortable life. And as declared in his political campaign, he has assets of just $1.1 million. A meager figure compared to all the money he has earned during his career, which shows that he was a man who didn't know how to manage his money well. Pelé, for his part, also made a lot of money, and at the height of his career was considered the best paid athlete in the world. To get an idea of values, when he was playing for the New York Cosmos, it is known that he had a contract that revolved around $2 million a year, totaling $6 million over 3 years. And although this is a huge amount of money, it is a far cry from what top-level players are paid today. And different from what many people think, the king of soccer made a lot more money these days off the field than when he was playing, because the salaries at the time were much lower. To give you an idea of their sources of income, starting with Pelé. Because he is considered one of the best players of all time, he became a kind of celebrity known worldwide, consolidating himself as a sports icon. On Facebook, for example, he has almost 10 million people, and on Instagram he has more than 16 million people. And it is clear that all this visibility added to his gigantic authority in soccer and ends up bringing him a lot of money, since several companies are interested in investing to associate their products with the player's image. Among the brands that have already invested in advertising with Pelé are, for example, Puma, Volkswagen, Honda, P&G, MasterCard, Coca-Cola, Louis Vuitton, Subway, Emirates, and Santander, among many others. To get an idea of the value of these contracts, it is estimated that the watch company Hublot alone invested $500,000 to advertise with him. To make the Netflix documentary, some sources estimate that Pelé received about $4 million. In 2015, for example, Forbes estimated that Pelé made about $15 million that year, a sum that came mainly from advertising contracts. And while no one knows exactly what his fortune is worth, some sources estimate that he had a net worth of $100 million, while other sources say it could exceed $160 million. So it's clear that Pelé wins this round. Point for him. At the end of this fight, we had 3 points for Pelé against 3 points for Romario, making it a draw. But if you think there are still other arguments to defend one of the two, write your best justification below. Hey, you like the video? So don't forget about leave your like and comment, and tell some suggestions of another videos, and hopefully we gonna do it. All about channel deals to satisfy your curiosity.